Affiliated fans, I know it's been a while. I apologize. We were doing this, Philosopher's Stone. We still are. Different cover, because the one I was reading was from the library. I actually am trying to get the original hardcover, but all I have is the paperback. But I really like this, because I am Hufflepuff. And blah, blah, blah. Dedication, patience, loyalty. So we're going to read some stuff, because it's fun. Let's read the bio of JP. Goodbye, Dad! Anyway, let's continue. You might belong in Hufflepuff, where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil. Okay, that was terrible. You might belong in Hufflepuff, where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil. That's obviously the sorting end. This Hufflepuff edition is published to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the first publication of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. With lots of extra content that is sure to excite every witch and wizard. Wear your house colors with pride. £14.99. Pounds. Well, £14.99. But anyway. Dedication, patience, loyalty. Harry Potter series, don't care. This is Latin, don't care. Alright. To Jessica, love stories. For Anne, who loved them too. And for Dee, who heard this one first. Hufflepuff, an introduction. Okay, I'm not reading the story thing again. Welcome to the friendliest house, Hogwarts. While the other founding wizards chose their students based on whether they possessed particular qualities, bravery, intelligence, or ambition, Helga Hufflepuff accepted everyone else, teaching them all she knew and treating them equally. The most grounded of all the houses, Hufflepuff equates to the element Earth. So it is no surprise Hufflepuffs don't mind rolling their sleeves up in herbology lessons. Deeply practical, Hufflepuffs understand the value of hard work. Who but a Hufflepuff Elgantine Puffet could have invented the self-soaping dishcloth? That is just cool. They have a reputation for being a lot of duffers, according to Hagrid, but there is the house that has produced the fewest dark wizards. Like the other three houses, Hufflepuffs don't like to boast of their own achievements or those of their famous alumni, even though their house has produced 3 ministers for magic and the world's foremost expert in magizoology, Newt Scamander. And let's not to forget Hengist of Woodcroft, founder of Hogsmeade, without whom young wizards and witches today would have a very difficult school experience. No fizzing whiz-bees from Honeydukes, no dung bombs from Zonkos with which to terrorize Filch. Hufflepuffs are loyal and honest, and they value fair play. They make the best friends a wizard could ever ask for. Hufflepuffs are also prepared to fight for what's right, and are fiercely protective of their own, like their house Beast the Badger. In fact, many Hufflepuffs were members of Dumbledore's army, and almost all of Hufflepuff stood alongside Harry Potter to face Voldemort in their final confrontation. It is no coincidence that in the whole of Hogwarts history, no intruder has ever made it into the Hufflepuff common room. Quietly resourceful, working as a team, you should never underestimate Hufflepuff House. Making Hufflepuffs proud. Hufflepuffs are known for their sense of fairness. Hufflepuff Cedric Diggory was chosen by the Goblet of Fire to be the Hogwarts champion in the Triwizard Tournament. One of the great Hufflepuff moments was in the final task, when Cedric was on the point of beating Harry to claim the Triwizard Cup. Cedric was standing, feet from the Triwizard Cup, which was gleaming behind him. Take it, Harry panted to Cedric. Go on, take it. You're there. But Cedric didn't move. He merely stood there, looking at Harry. Then he turned to stare at the cup. Harry saw the longing expression on his face in its golden light. Cedric looked at Harry again, who was now holding onto the hedge to support himself. Cedric took a deep breath. You take it. You should win. That's twice you've saved my neck in here. House founder Helga Hufflepuff, loyal and charming. Helga Hufflepuff was one of the 4 founders of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and a great friend of Rowena Ravenclaw. She was known for her skill at foot-related charms, and many of her recipes are used in Hogwarts feasts to this very day. Compassionate and sweet-natured, Helga Hufflepuff accepted all witches and wizards to her house, whatever their background or character. Helga showed kindness to house elves, giving them work and refuge from the abuse they suffered in that area. Over 1,000 years have passed, but her legacy of justice, fairness, and hard work remain the guiding principles of the house she founded. House Relic. Helga Hufflepuff's cup is a small golden cup with 2 finely wrought handles. The house emblem, a badger, is engraved on the cup. This precious relic was handed down through Helga Hufflepuff's family line. Eventually came into the possession of Hepzibah Smith, from whom Lord Voldemort stole it. He later turned the cup into a Horcrux and charged Death Eater Bellatrix Lestrange with the safekeeping of this priceless treasure. Nice throws, actually. House Livery. The Hufflepuff heraldic beast is the badger, a creature who lives quietly, yet when attacked, fiercely protects its own, embodying the deep loyalty and sense of fairness characteristic of all Hufflepuffs. The house colors are black and yellow. House Ghost. Name the Fat Friar. Appearance: cheerful fat monk dressed in monk's robes. Method of death. The Fat Friar was executed when his superiors became suspicious of the fact that he could cure the pox merely by poking the afflicted with a stick. His wand. The Fat Friar wishes that in life he'd become a cardinal. This is a map of Hogwarts or stuff. Kind of cool. Anyway, let's get back to this book. So, if you guys remember, we went from Diagon Alley, and now we're going to the journey from Platform 9 and 3/4. Harry's last month at Dursley's wasn't fun. True, Dudley was now scared of Harry. He wouldn't stay in the same room. What? True, Dudley was now so scared of Harry he wouldn't stay in the same room, while Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon didn't shut Harry in his cupboard, force him to do anything or shout at him. In fact, they didn't speak at him at all. Half terrified, half furious, they acted as though any chair with Harry in it was empty. Although this was an improvement in many ways, it became a bit depressing after a while. Harry kept to his room with his new owl for company. He decided to call her Hedwig, a name he had found in the history of magic. His school books were very interesting. He lay on his bed reading late into the night, Hedwig swooping in and out of the open window as she pleased. It was lucky that Aunt Petunia didn't come into Hoover anymore, because Hedwig kept bringing back dead mice. Every night before he went to sleep, Harry ticked off another day on the piece of paper he had pinned on the wall, counting down to September the 1st. On the last day of August, he thought he'd better speak to his aunt and uncle about getting to King's Cross Station next day. So he went down to the living room, where they were watching a quiz show on television. He cleared his throat to let them know he was there, and Dudley screamed and ran from the room. Uncle Vernon. Uncle Vernon grunted to show he was listening. I need to be at King's Cross tomorrow to go to Hogwarts. Uncle Vernon grunted again. Would it be all right if you gave me a lift? Grunt. Harry supposed that meant yes. Thank you. About to go back upstairs, Uncle Vernon actually spoke. Funny way to get to Wizard School, the train. Magic carpets all got punctures, have they? Harry didn't say anything. Where's the school, anyway? I don't know, said Harry, realizing this for the first time. He pulled the ticket Hagrid had given him out of his pocket. I just take the train from Platform 9 and 3/4 at 11 o'clock, he read. His aunt and uncle stared. Platform what? 9 and 3/4. Don't talk rubbish, Uncle Vernon. There is no Platform 9 and 3/4. It's on my ticket. Barking! Said Uncle Vernon. Howling mad. The lot of them. You'll see. You just wait. All right, we'll take it to King's Cross. We're going up to London tomorrow anyway. Oh, I wouldn't bother. Why are you going to London? Harry asked, trying to keep things from him. Taking Dudley to a hospital. Uncle Vernon. Got to have that running tail removed before he goes to Smeltings. Harry woke at 5 o'clock the next morning and was too excited and nervous to go back to sleep. He got up and pulled on his jeans because he didn't want to walk into the station in his wizard's robes. He'd change on the train. He checked his Hogwarts list yet again to make sure he had everything he needed, saw that Hedwig was shut safely in her cage, and then paced the room, waiting for the Dursleys to get up. 2 hours later, Harry's huge, heavy trunk had been loaded into the Dursleys' car. Aunt Petunia had talked Dudley into sitting next to Harry, and they had set off. They reached King's Cross at 10:30. Uncle Vernon dumped Harry's trunk onto a trolley and wheeled it into the station for him. Harry thought this was strange the kind until Uncle Vernon stopped dead, facing the platforms with a nasty grin on his face. Well, there you are, boy. Platform 9, Platform 10. Your platform should be somewhere in the middle, but they don't seem to have built it, do they? It's quite right, of course. There was a big plastic number 9 over one platform, and a big plastic number 10 over the next to it, and in the middle, nothing at all. Have a good term, said Uncle Vernon with an even nastier smile. He left without another word. He returned and saw the Dursleys drive away. All 3 of them were laughing. Harry's mouth went rather dry. What on earth was he going to do? He was starting to attract a lot of funny looks because of Hedwig. He'd have to ask someone. He stopped a passing guard, but didn't dare mention Platform 9 3/4. The guard had never heard of Hogwarts, and when Harry couldn't even tell him what part of the country it was in, he started to get annoyed, as though Harry was being stupid on purpose. Getting desperate, Harry asked for the train that left at 11 o'clock, but the guard said there wasn't one. In the end, the guard strode away, muttering about time wasters. Harry was trying not to panic. According to the large clock over the arrivals board, he had 10 minutes left to get on the train to Hogwarts, and he had no idea how to do it. He was stranded.
It's 1 o'clock.
He was stranded in the middle of a station.
I'm reminding you.
Oh, God.
Epstein, 2 p.m.
Thank you. Goodbye. With a trunk he could hardly lift, a pocket full of wizard money, and a large owl. Hagrid must have... Alexa, stop!
I'm reminding you.
Thank you. Had no idea how to do it. He was stranded in the middle of a station with a trunk he could hardly lift, a pocket full of wizard money, and a large owl. Hagrid must have forgotten to tell him something he had to do, like tapping the 3rd brick on the left to get into Diagon Alley. He wondered if he should get out his wand and start tapping the ticket box between platforms 9 and 10. At that moment, a group of people passed just behind him, and he caught a few words of what they were saying. Packed with muggles, of course. Harry swung round. The speaker was a plump woman. Oh, right. Packed with muggles, of course. Harry swung round. The speaker was a plump woman who was talking to 4 boys, all with flaming red hair. Each of them was pushing a trunk like Harry's in front of them, and they had an owl. Heart hammering, Harry pushed his trolley after them. They stopped, and so did he, just near enough to hear what they were saying. Now, what's the platform number? Said the boy's mother. 9 3/4, wept a small girl, who was also red-headed, who was holding a hand. Mom, guess I go. You're not old enough, Ginny. Now be quiet. All right, Percy, you are first. What looked like the oldest boy marched towards platform 9 and 10. Harry watched, careful not to blink in case he missed it. But just as the boys reached the divide between the 2 platforms, a large crowd of tourists came swarming in front of them. And by the time the last books had cleared away, the boy had vanished. Fred, you're next, the woman said. I'm not Fred, I'm George, said the boy. Honestly, woman, call yourself our mother. Can't you tell I'm George? Sorry, George, dear. Only joking. I am Fred, said the boy, and off he went. His twin called after him to hurry up, and he must have done, because a second later he had gone. But how had he done it? Now the third brother was walking briskly towards the ticket barrier. He was almost there, and then quite suddenly, he wasn't there anymore. There was nothing else for it. Excuse me, he said to the blonde woman. Hello, dear, she said. First time at Hogwarts? Ron's new, too. She pointed at the last and youngest of her sons. He was tall, thin, and gangling with freckles, big hands and feet, and a long nose. Yes, said Harry. Thing is, I don't know how to get on the platform, she said kindly, and Harry nodded. Not to worry, she said. All we have to do is walk straight at the barrier between platform 9 and 10. Don't stop, don't be scared of crashing into it. That's very important. But do it a bit of a run, if you notice. Go on. Go now before the run. Okay, said Harry. He pushed his trolley around and stared at the barrier. It looked very solid. He started to walk towards it. People jostled him on their ways to platform 9 and 10. Harry walked more quickly. He was going to smash right into that ticket box, and they'd be in trouble. Leaning forward on his trolley, he broke into a heavy run. The barrier was coming nearer and nearer. He wouldn't be able to stop. The trolley was out of control. He was far away. Closed his eyes, ready for the crash. It didn't come. He kept on running. He opened his eyes. A scarlet steam engine was waiting next to a platform, packed with people. A sign overhead said, Hogwarts Express, 11 o'clock. Harry looked behind him and saw a wrought iron archway where the ticket box had been, with the words, Platform 9 3/4 on it. He had done it. Smoke from the engine drifted over the heads of the chattering crowd, while cats of every color wound here and there between their legs. Owls hooted to each other in a disgruntled sort of way over the babble and the scraping of heavy trunks. The first few carriages were already packed with students, some hanging out the window to talk to their families, some fighting over seats. Harry pushed his trolley off down the platform and searched for an empty seat. He passed a round-faced boy who was saying, God, I've lost my turd again. Oh, Neville, he heard the old woman sigh. The boy with dreadlocks surrounded by a small crowd. Give us a look, Lee. Go on. The boy lifted the lid of a box in his arms, and the people around him shrieked and yelled as something inside poked out a long, hairy leg. Harry pressed on through the crowd until he found an empty compartment near the end of the train. He put Hedwig inside first and started to shove and heave his trunk towards the train door. He tried to lift up the steps, but could hardly raise one end, and twice he dropped it painfully on his foot. Want a hand? One of the red-haired twins had followed to the ticket box. Yes, please, Harry panted. All right, Fred, come here now. The twins helped. Harry's trunk was at last tucked away in a corner of the compartment. Thanks, said Harry, pushing his sweaty hair out of his eyes. What's that? said one of the twins suddenly, pointing at Harry's legs. Blimey, said the other twin. Are you? He is, said the first twin. Aren't you? Said Harry. What? said Harry. Harry Potter. Of course, the twins. Oh, him, said Harry. I mean, yes, I am. The 2 boys gawped at him, and Harry felt almost himself going red. Then to his relief, a voice came floating in through the train's open door. Fred! George! Are you there? Coming on. With the last look at Harry, the twins hopped off the train. Harry sat down next to the window where, half hidden, he could watch the red-haired family on the platform and hear what they were saying. Their mother had just taken out her handkerchief. Ron, you've got something on your nose. The youngest boy tried to jerk out of the way, but she grabbed him and began rubbing the end of his nose. Get off! He wriggled free. Ah! Has Icky Ronnie got something on his nose? said one of the twins. Shut up, said Ron. Where's Percy? said their mother. He's coming now. The oldest boy came striding into sight. He had already changed into his billowing black Hogwarts robes, and Harry noticed a shiny red and gold badge on his chest with the letter P on it. Can't stay long, mother, said. I'm up front. The prefects have got 2 compartments to themselves. Are you a prefect, Percy? said one of the twins in an air of great surprise. You should have said something. We had no idea. Hang on. I think I remember him saying something about it. To the other twin. Once, or twice, a minute, all summer. Oh, shut up, said Percy the prefect. How come Percy gets new robes anyway? said one of the twins. Because he's a prefect, said their mother fondly. All right, dear. Well, have a good time. Send me an hour when you get there. kissed Percy on the cheek, and he left. Then she turned to the twins. Now you two, this year you behave yourselves. If I get one more owl telling you've blown up a toilet, We've never blown up a toilet. Great idea, though. Thanks, Mum. It's not funny. And look after Ron. Don't worry, Ickalonnikins is safe with us. Shut up, said Ron again. He was almost as tall as the twins already. And his nose was still pink where his mother had rubbed it. Hey, Mum, guess what? Guess who we just met on the train? Harry leant back quickly so they couldn't see him looking. Oh, the black-haired boy was near us in the station? Know who he is? Who? Harry Potter! Harry heard the little girl's voice. Oh, Mum, can I go on the train and see him? Mum, oh, please. You've already seen him, Ginny. And the poor boy's in something you got in the zoo. Is he really, Fred? How do you know? Asked him. Saw his scarf. Really there. Like lightning. Poor Zidane. No wonder he was alone. I wondered. He was ever so polite when he asked how to get onto the platform. Don't mind that. Do you think he remembers what you knew who he looks like? Their mother suddenly became very stern. I forbid you to ask him, Fred. No, don't you dare. As though he needs reminding of that on his first day at school. All right, keep your hair on. A whistle sounded. Hurry up! Their mother said, and the three boys clambered onto the train. They leant out of the window for her to kiss them goodbye, and their younger sister began to cry. Don't, Jenny! We'll send you loads of owls! We'll send you a Hogwarts toilet seat! George! I'm only joking, Mum. The train began to move. Harry saw the boy's mother waving and their sister, half laughing, half crying, running to keep up with the train until they got at too much speed. Then she fell back and waved. Harry watched the girl and her mother disappear as the train rounded the corner. Houses flashed past the window. Harry felt a great leap of excitement. He didn't know what he was going to do, but it had to be better than what he was leaving behind. Or he didn't know what he was going to, but it had to be better than what he was leaving behind. The door of the compartment slid open, and the youngest red-headed boy came in. Anyone sitting here? He asked, pointing at the opposite Harry. Everybody else is full. Harry shook his head, and the boy sat down. He glanced at Harry and then looked quickly out of the window, pretending he hadn't looked. Harry saw he still had a black mark on his nose. Hey, Ron. Twins were back. Listen, we're going down the middle of the train. Lee Jordan's got a giant tarantula down there. Right. Harry, did we introduce ourselves? Friend George Weasley, and this is Ron, our brother. See you later, then. Bye, said Harry and Ron. Twins slid the compartment door shut behind them. Are you really Harry Potter? Ron blurted out. Harry nodded. Oh, well, I thought it might be one of Fred and George's jokes, said Ron. Have you really got you know? He pointed Harry's forehead. Harry pulled back his fringe to show the lightning scar. Ron stared. So that's where you know who? Yes, said Harry. But I can't remember it. Nothing, said Ron eagerly. Well, I remember a lot of green light, but nothing else. Wow, said Ron. He sat and stared at Harry for a few moments. Then, as though he had suddenly realized what he was doing, he looked quickly out of the window again. Are all your family wizards? Asked Harry, who found Ron just as interesting as Ron found him. Oh, yes, I think so, said Ron. I think Mom's got a second cousin who's an accountant, but we never talk about him. So you must know loads of magic already. The Weasleys were clearly one of those old wizarding families the pale boy in Diagon Alley had talked about. I heard you went to live with muggles, said Ron. What are they like? Horrible! Well, not all of them. My aunt and uncle and cousins are, though. Wish I'd had 3 wizard brothers. 5, said Ron. For some reason, he was looking gloomy. I'm 6 in our family to go to Hogwarts. You could say I've got a lot to live up to. Bill and Charlie have already left. Bill is head boy, and Charlie was captain of Quidditch. Now Percy's a prefect. Fred and George mess around a lot, but they still get really good marks, and everyone thinks they're really funny. Everyone expects me to do as well as the others, but if I do, it's no big deal, because they did it first. Never get anything new either with 5 brothers. Got Bill's old robes, Charlie's old wand, and Percy's old rat. Ron reached into his jacket and pulled out a fat grey rat, which was asleep. His name's Scabbers, and he's useless. He hardly ever wakes up. Percy got an hour from Dad for being made a prefect, but they couldn't have... I got Scabbers instead. Ron's ears went pink. He seemed to think he'd said too much, because he went back to staring out of the window. Harry didn't think there was anything wrong with not being able to afford an owl. After all, he'd never had any money in his life until a month ago, and he told Ron so. All about having to wear Dudley's old clothes and never getting proper birthday presents. This seemed to cheer Ron up. And until Hagrid told me, I didn't know anything about being a wizard or about my parents or Voldemort. Ron gasped. What? Said Harry. You said you know whose name? Said Ron, sounding both shocked and impressed. I'd have thought you, of all people, not trying to be brave or anything, saying names, eh? I just never knew you shouldn't. See what I mean? I've got loads to learn, I bet, he added, voicing for the first time something they'd been worrying a lot lately. I bet I'm the worst in the class. You won't be. There's loads of people who come from Muggle families, and they learn quite quick enough. While they had been talking, the train had carried them out of London. Now they were speeding past fields full of cows and sheep. They were quiet for a time. Watching the fields and lanes flick past. Around 12:30, there was a great clattering outside in the corridor, and a smiling, dimpled woman slid back their door and said, Anything off the trolley, dears? Harry, who hadn't had any breakfast, leapt to his feet, but Ron's ears went pink again, and he muttered that he brought sandwiches. Harry went out into the corridor. He'd never had any money for sweets at the Dursleys, and now that he had pockets rattling with gold and silver, he was ready to buy as many Mars bars as he could carry. But the woman didn't have Mars bars. What she did have were pretty box, every flavored beans, Jubal's best blowing gum, chocolate frogs, pumpkin pasties, cauldron cakes, licorice swans, and a number of other strange things Harry had never seen in his life. Not wanting to miss anything, he got some of everything and paid the woman 11 silver sickles and 7 bronze nuts. One stared as Harry brought it all back into the compartment and tipped it onto an empty seat. Hungry, are you? Starving, said Harry, taking a large bite out of a pumpkin pasty. Ron had taken out a lumpy package and wrapped it. There were 4 sandwiches in there. He pulled one of them apart and said, "She always forgets I don't like corned beef." "Swap you for one of these," Harry, holding up the pasty. "Go on." "You don't want this. It's all dry," said Ron. "She hasn't got much time yet." "You know, 5 of us." "Go on, have a pasty," said Harry. We'd never had anything to share before, indeed, anyone to share it with. It was a nice feeling, though. Who had never had it. "Go on, have a pasty," said Harry, who had never had anything to share before, or, indeed, anyone to share it with. It was a nice feeling sitting there with Ron, eating their way through all of Harry's pasties and cakes. The sandwiches lay forgotten. "What are these?" Harry asked Ron, holding up a pack of chocolate frogs. "They're not really frogs, are they?" I sort of feel that nothing would surprise him. "No," said Ron. "See what the card is. I'm missing a gripper." "What?" "Oh, of course, you wouldn't know. Chocolate frogs have cards inside them, you know, to collect famous witches and wizards. I've got about 500. I haven't got a gripper or tell me." Harry unwrapped his chocolate frog and picked up the card, showed a man's face. He wore half-moon glasses, had a long, crooked nose, and flowing silver hair, beard, and mustache. Beneath the picture was the name, Albus Dumbledore. "So this is Dumbledore," said Harry. "Don't tell me you've never heard of Dumbledore," said Ron. "Can I have a frog? I might get a gripper, thanks." Harry turned over his card and read, "Albus Dumbledore, currently headmaster of Hogwarts, considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times. Professor Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the Dark Wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of 12 uses of dragon's blood, and his work on alchemy with his partner, Nicholas Flamel. Professor Dumbledore enjoys chamber music and 10-pin bowling." Harry turned the card back over and saw to his astonishment that Dumbledore's face disappeared. "He's gone!" "Well, you can't expect him to hang around all day," said Ron. "He'll be back." "No, I've got Morgana again. I've got about 6 of her. Do you want it? You can start collecting." Ron's eyes stared straight into the pile of chocolate frogs waiting to be unwrapped. "Help yourself." "But in, the Muggle world, people just stay out to put in photos." "Do they? What, they don't move at all?" Ron sounded amazed. "Weird." Harry stared as Dumbledore sidled back into the picture on his card and gave him a small smile. Ron was more interested in eating the frogs than looking at the famous witches and wizards cards, but Harry could keep his eyes off them. Soon he had not only Dumbledore and Morgana, but Hengist of Woodcroft, Alberic, Grunion, Circe, Paracelsus, and Merlin. He finally tore his eyes away from the Druidess Cleo. Now he was scratching her nose over a bag of Bertie Bott's every flavored beans. "You want to be careful with those," murmured Harry. "When they say every flavor, they mean every flavor, you know. You get all the ordinary ones like chocolate and peppermint and marmalade, but then you get spinach and liver and tripe." George reckons he had a bogey-flavored one once. Ron picked up a green bean and looked at it carefully and bit into it. "Ugh! See? Sprouts." They had a good time eating the every flavored beans. Here he got toast, coconut, baked beans, strawberry curry, grass, coffee, sardine, and was even brave enough to nibble the end of a funny gray one Ron wouldn't touch, which turned out to be pepper. The countryside now flying past the windows, becoming wilder. The neat fields had gone. Now there were woods, twisting rivers, and dark green hills. There was a knock on the door of the compartment, and the round-faced boy Harry passed on platform 9 3/4 came in. He looked tearful. "Sorry," he said, "but have you seen a toad at all?" They shook their heads. He went, "I've lost him. He keeps getting away from me." "Got up," said Harry. "Yes," said the boy miserably. "Well, have you seen him?" He laughed. "Don't know why he's so bothered," said Ron. "If I'd bought a toad, I'd lose it as quick as I could. Mind you, about scatters. Well, I can't talk." The girl was still snoozing on Ron's lap. "He might have died, and you wouldn't know the difference," Ron discussed. "I tried to turn him yellow yesterday to make it more interesting. The spell doesn't work. I'll show you. Look." He rummaged around his trunk and pulled out a very bad-looking wand. It was chopped and chipped in places, and something white was glinting at the end. "Unicorn hairs nearly poking out." Anyway, he had just raised his wand and the compartment door slid open again. The toadless boy was back, but this time he had a girl with him. She was already wearing her new Hogwarts robe. "Has anyone seen a toad? Neville's lost one," she said. She had a bossy sort of voice, lots of bushy brown hair, and rather large front teeth. "We've already told him we haven't seen it," said Ron. The girl wasn't listening. She was looking at the wand and saying, "Oh, are you doing magic? Let's see it then." She sat down. Ron looked taken aback. "All right." He cleared his throat. "Sunshine, daisies, buttermellow, turn this stupid fat rat yellow." He waved his wand, but nothing happened. The scabbard stayed grey and fell asleep. Are you sure that's a real spell? Well, it's not very good, is it? I've tried very few simple spells just for practice, and it's all worked for me. Nobody in my family's magic at all. It was never such a surprise when I got my letter. But I was ever so pleased, of course. I mean, it's the very best school of witchcraft there is, I've heard. I've learned all our set books off by heart, of course. I just hope it'll be enough. I'm a mining ranger. By the way, who are you? She said all this very fast. Harry looked at Ron, was relieved to see by his stumped face he hadn't learned all the set books off by heart either. I'm Ron Weasley. Harry Potter. Are you really? So I know all about you, of course. I got a few extra books for background reading, and you're in modern magical history, and the rise and fall of the dark arts, and great wizarding events of the 20th century. Emma! Said Harry, feeling dazed. Goodness, didn't you know? I'd have found out everything I could if it was me, said Hermione. Do either of you know what house you'll be in? I've been asking around, and I hope it'll be Gryffindor. Still by far the best. I hear Dumbledore himself was one. But I suppose Ravenclaw wouldn't be too bad. Anyway, we better go and look for Neville's toad. You two had better change, you know. Expect we'll be there soon. She left, taking the toadless boy with her. Whatever house I'm in, I hope she's not in it, said Ron. He threw his wand back into his trunk. Stupid spell. George gave it to me, but he knew it was a dud. What house are your brothers in? Gryffindor, said Ron. Gloom seemed to be settling on him again. Mom and Dad were in it too. I don't know what they'll say if I'm not. I don't suppose Ravenclaw would be so bad, but imagine if they put me in Slytherin. That's the house fault. I mean, you know who was in. Yeah, said Ron. He flopped back into his seat, looking depressed. You know, I think the ends of Scabbard's whiskers are a bit lighter, said Harry, trying to take Ron's mind off houses. So what do your oldest brothers do now that they've left? Anyway, Harry's wondering what a wizard did once he'd finished school. Charlie's in Romania studying dragons, and Bill's in Africa doing something for Gringotts, said Ron. Did you hear about Gringotts? Been all over the Daily Prophet. But I don't suppose you get that with the Muggles. Someone tried to rob a high-security vault. Harry stared. Really? What happened to them? Nothing. That's why it's such big news. They haven't been caught. My dad says it must have been a very powerful dark wizard to get around Gringotts. But they don't say they took anything. That's what's odd. Of course, everyone gets scared when something like this happens in case you know who's behind it. Harry turned this news over in his mind. He was starting to get a prickle of fear every time you know who was mentioned. I suppose it was all part of entering the magical world. But I'd been a lot more comfortable saying Voldemort without worrying. What's your Quidditch team? I don't know any. What? Ron looked dumbfounded. Oh, you wait. It's the best game in the world. He was off, explaining all about the 4 balls and positions of the 7 players, about famous games he'd been to with his brothers and the broomsticks he'd like to get if he had the money. He was just taking Harry through the finer points of the game, and the compartment doors came open yet again. It wasn't Neville the Toadless Boy, or Hermione Granger this time. 3 boys entered, and Harry recognized the middle one at once. It was the pale boy from Madame Mockin's robe shop. He was looking at Harry with a lot more interest than he showed back at Diagon Alley. Is it true, he said, they're saying all down the train that Harry Potter's in this compartment? So it's you, is it? Yes, said Harry, looking at the other boys. Both of them were thickest and looked extremely mean. Thick-set and looked extremely mean. Standing either side of the pale boy looked like bodyguards. Oh, this is Crabbe, and this is Goyle, said the pale boy carelessly, noticing where Harry was looking. And my name's Malfoy. Draco Malfoy. Ron gave a slight cough, but had been hiding a snigger. Draco Malfoy looked at him. Think my name's funny, do you? No need to ask who you are. My father told me all the Weasleys have red hair, freckles, and more children than they can afford. He turned back to Harry. You'll soon find out some wizarding families are much better than others, Potter. You don't want to go making friends with the wrong sort. I can help you there. He held out his hand to shake Harry's, but Harry didn't take it. I think I can tell who the wrong sort are for myself, thanks, he said coolly. Draco Malfoy didn't go red. A pink tinge appeared in his pale cheeks. I'd be careful if I were you, Potter, he said slowly. Unless you're a bit politer, you'll go the same way as your parents. They didn't know it was good for them either. Hanging around with riff-raff like the Weasleys, and that Hagrid will rub off on you. Both Harry and Ron stood up. Ron's face was as red as his hair. Say that again, he said. Oh, you're going to fight us, are you? Malfoy sneered. Unless you get out now, said Harry more bravely than he felt, because Crabbe and Goyle were a lot bigger than him and Ron. We don't feel like leaving, do we, boys? We've eaten all our food, and you seem to have some. Goyle reached towards the chocolate frogs as Ron leapt forward. Before he said so much as touched Goyle, Goyle let out a horrible yell. Scabbers the rat was hanging off his finger. Sharp little teeth sunk into Goyle's knuckle. Crabbe and Malfoy backed away as Goyle swung Scabbers around and round, howling. And when Scabbers finally flew off and hit the window, all 3 of them disappeared at once. Perhaps they thought there were more rats lurking among the streets, or perhaps they'd heard footsteps, because a second later, Hermione Granger came in. What has been going on? She was looking at the sweets. All over the floor, and Ron picked up Scabbers by his tail. I think he's been knocked out, Ron said to Harry. Look closer, Scabbers. No, I don't believe it. Just gone back to sleep. And so he had. You've met Malfoy before? Harry explained about their meeting Diagon Alley. I've heard of his family, said Ron darkly. They were some of the first to come back to our side after you know who disappeared. Said they'd been bewitched. My dad doesn't believe it. He said Malfoy's father didn't need an excuse to go over the dark side. He turned to Hermione. Can we help you with something? You better hurry up and put your hopes on. I've just been up to the front desk to drive in. He says we're nearly there. You haven't been fighting, have you? You'll be in trouble before we even get there. Scourers have been fighting, not us, said Ron, scowling at her. Would you mind leaving while we change? All right, I only came here because people outside are behaving very childishly, racing up and down the corridors, said Hermione's stiffy voice. And you've got dirt on your nose, by the way. Did you know? Ron glared at her as she left. Harry peered out of the window. It was getting dark. You could see mountains and forests under a deep purple sky. The train did seem to be slowing down. He and Ron took off their jackets and pulled on their long black robes. Ron's were a bit short for him. You could see his trainers underneath them. A voice echoed through the train. We'll be reaching Hogwarts in 5 minutes' time. Please leave your luggage on the train. You'll be taken to the school separately. Harry's stomach lurched with nerves, and Ron, he saw, looked pale under his freckles. They crammed their pockets with the last of the sweets and joined the crowd thronging the corridor. The train slowed right down and finally stopped. People pushed their way towards the door and out onto a tiny, dark platform. Harry shivered in the cold night air. Then a lamp came bobbing over the heads of the students. Harry heard a voice, a familiar voice. First years, over here. All right there, Harry? Hagrid's big hairy face beamed over the sea of heads. Come on, follow me. Any more first years? Mind your step now. First years, follow me. Slipping and stumbling, they followed Hagrid down what seemed to be a steep, narrow path, so dark either side of them that Harry thought there must be thick trees there. Nobody spoke much. Neville the boy, who kept losing his toes, sniffed once or twice. You'll get your first sight of Hogwarts in a second, Harry called over his shoulder. Just round this bend there. There was a loud ooh. The narrow path had opened suddenly onto the edge of a great black lake. Perched atop a high mountain on the other side, its windows sparkling in the starry sky, was a vast castle with many turrets and towers. No more than 4 to a boat, Hagrid called, pointing to a fleet of little boats sitting in the water by the shore. Harry and Ron were followed into their boat by Neville and Hermione. Everyone in, shouted Hagrid, who had a boat to himself. Right then, forward! The fleet of little boats moved all at once, gliding across the lake, which was as smooth as glass. Everyone was silent, staring at the great castle overhead. It towered over them as they sailed nearer and nearer the cliff on which it stood. Heads down, yelled Hagrid as the first boat reached the cliff. They all bent their heads, and the little boat carried them through a curtain of ivy, which hid a wide opening in the cliff face. They were carried along a dark tunnel, which seemed to be taking them right underneath the castle, until they reached a kind of underground harbor, where they clambered out through rocks and pebbles. Oh, you there! Is this your toad? Said Hagrid, who was checking the boats as people climbed out of them. Trevor! Cried Neville blissfully, holding out his hands. Then they clambered up a passageway in the rock after Hagrid's lamp coming out at last into smooth, damp grass by the shadow of the castle. They walked up a flight of stone steps and crowded around the huge oak front door. Everyone here? You there? Still got your toad? Hagrid raised a gigantic fist and knocked 3 times on the castle door. Thank you for listening. If you didn't listen, that's fine.